here today at Evergreen House. This is which facility is this one?
This is the Evergreen Youth Services site. We also have a shelter site, which is at 622 Mississippi. But the Evergreen Youth Services site has on-site apartments upstairs for youth and young families. We also offer youth and family counseling here. We provide hot meals 5 days a week. We have emergency food bags for youth, hygiene items, diapers and formula for young homeless parents. We provide a lot of clothing, gloves, hats, warm winter gear. We also run independent living skills for youth who are transitioning to adulthood and provide a variety of other services.
And how old was the oldest in age and the youngest?
Well, right now we have a little person upstairs who was born on October 31st, and our oldest might be 22.
22, okay.
Generally at this site we serve young people between the ages of 16 and 21. Our family counseling services sometimes go younger. Our Kinship North mentoring program is ages 5 to 15. And then we have a number of young parents upstairs who have little folks.
Okay. And today I'm talking to?
Micah.
Micah? All right, Micah. You want to tell me your story?
I was recently homeless last year on December 5th, and the sheriff gave me a ride. That was a friend of mine up to Bemidji, and he brought me to Evergeen in their old place, and it took me in, and I did some paperwork and got in, and I got an apartment in about half a month. And it was nice to be not homeless, and they helped me out so much till now, and I've been living here for 2 months.
So the things that they're teaching you here, life skills and things like that, do you think you'll be able to go from here and make it and not be homeless again?
Yeah, I think I gathered a lot of information from everyone that works here and my friends to move forward towards my future.
And you're going to college now?
I'm going to Leech Lake Tribal College in Cass Lake, and I've been doing all right. Do your classes full time. It's going pretty good.
All right. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Walk in Evergreen, this is what it looks like. And then we have the main staff office. Good to talk to you. And so when kids come in, they do their intakes in here, or when we're doing a drop-in family counseling with parents, these are actually from kids that have stayed here, and we give them a square piece of thing to draw on or whatnot, and this is our third one. We have another big one and then a smaller size one that kids have actually help make.
The artwork is really awesome.
Wow. Quite talented, that's for sure.
So here we go.
Hello, my name is Gary Russell, and I started here at the shelter on a Halloween evening in 1994, so I've been here for 19 years. And it seemed kind of fitting to start on a Halloween. It's always an adventure, a little different working here. Evergreen's a grassroots organization, and it first started out in 1977. There was a father in town who realized there was a group of kids that were involved in drug subculture running around, just causing a lot of problems for the community. And they used to hang out not too far from here where Senex Trustworthy Hardware currently is. There was a Red Owl store, and for some reason they just kind of congregate there. And so they thought we really need a program to kind of rope these kids in, challenge them in terms of accountability and safety, and just work with them, not just identify that they're a problem, but try to see if in terms of community we can come together and do something for those families and those kids. So that's been our tradition since the beginning for over 35 years. So at the shelter, about a third of the kids coming in here are involved in child protection situations, abuse or neglect. And then the other kids are pretty much just causing their parents a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of worry. There might be drugs involved, alcohol, running away, toxic relationships, a variety of different things where parents are real concerned. And we come alongside, try to support the parents, do a lot of free family counseling. And one kid came in here and he said, Evergreen's not a place you end up, it's a place where you begin or start. So it's a privilege to serve, and we enjoy serving the community and hope to be here for a long, long time.
And my name is Mick Marino. I haven't been here quite as long as Gary, in fact, just since January of 2010. And my role here is to provide family support services to parents. And what that really looks like is more a coaching type relationship to talk about skills that maybe will help parents and families get out of the difficult situation they're in and hopefully move to a better place together. So we talk about things like communication skills, conflict resolution, how to work with effective consequences, how to keep safety in the home, and a high level of respect and responsibility. And so we just meet right here in a pretty comfortable office. It's private, confidential, and would invite parents to come by and check out what's happening here and try to be helpful in any way we can.
On average, how many kids come through a year?
We see about 300 kids in the shelter per year, and it varies a little bit. We serve kids ages 9 to 17, and a 9-year-old's pretty young. That's a third grader. We have a 9-year-old in the house right now. A lot of those situations end up being more child protection related with abuse or neglect. So the goal there is just to provide a really safe place, comfortable place for kids to stay, kind of a home away from home.
Now, the other facility that I was at earlier, they talked about they had apartments. Could you explain that transition?
Yeah, a lot of the kids we work with just aren't really well subsidized, making that leap to adulthood. I know when I went out on my own, you go out, got to come home occasionally, borrow some food, borrow some money. You look in your refrigerator and you got some ketchup packets from Hardee's, maybe some milk, and realize, geez, Mom's refrigerator had a lot more in it. But it takes quite a bit of help from the parents and maybe several years, maybe too many years sometimes, to actually become truly independent. But for a lot of our kids, they just don't have the family support for any of that. So facing adulthood's a real scary proposition. So they're able to help them get started with some finding apartments, sometimes that first month's rent, damage deposit, but also accountability, teaching them independent living skills, different things that they need in terms of finances, how to buy a used car. We've had chefs come in and teach kids how to cook with commods, using community people to teach a lot of those independent living skills.
So that's a part of independent living skills.
Yeah, and the kids that are at our apartments at the other site tend to be a little bit higher risk. They've had quite a bit of trauma, so they're carrying a lot of hurt, maybe some anger. Some of them are coming out of relationships that were abusive. And so they've got them upstairs where they can keep a little closer eye on them, who's coming and going. and really trying to help them develop that independence and common sense, have an extra pair of eyes there until they get their feet underneath them and can develop more of that accountability and independence, and then from there they cut them loose, give them more freedom.
What I like about both of the facilities is that you are in the community, and that's neat.
Yeah, very much community based, and it just kind of arose out of community needs. So the need to drive the service. You always want to ask yourself, like, why are we here? What's the point? What's the mission? And you should have a really clear sense of your purpose and why you're doing what you're doing.
Well, do you have kids of your own?
I do.
You?
Oh, you bet. I have grandkids.
Grandkids?
Yeah.
I'm a granddaddy now. Yeah. Okay, well, and this open house today, what is the purpose?
Just the shelter does a lot of work. It's quite private. So we take the kids out on the town. They're going to be eating pizza in a restaurant this evening, going to the science center, do some other things, and we're opening up the house so people can see what the shelter is like. Because it's a rare opportunity to kind of see the whole house. But just we also want parents to know that we're kind of their first line of defense. If there's a lot of conflict at home, if things are ever feeling unsafe, they can call and get an immediate response here, some more immediate help.
Do you mind giving the number?
Oh yeah, it's 751-4332 is the number to the shelter. So 218-751-4332, and there's people here awake 24 hours a day,
So
7
say a
days a
kid
week, holidays.
got really cold and couldn't take it anymore, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning. You might could knock on the door.
They certainly could. Yeah.
I'm Stephanie Downey, and I'm the Suicide Prevention Coordinator with Evergreen Youth and Family Services. And the Suicide Prevention Program has been with Evergreen since 2009, but it's been in existence since about 2004, 2005, when the community and the area here saw an increase in youth and young adult suicides that really alarmed a lot of community members and a lot of suicide attempts in schools. And at that time, the community really came together in a task force and alliance to address the issue. And from that concern and those high numbers of rates, the Suicide Prevention Program was formed, and a Suicide Prevention Coordinator was hired. And that's how I came to be at Evergreen. And really my job is to address suicide prevention issues in the community. So a large part of what I do is provide education, awareness, and coordinating different suicide prevention events and trainings for students in the schools, for teachers, for other interested groups, agencies, for their staff, for the clients that they serve, and provide them with some basic knowledge about suicide and some skills that they can use to intervene if they're worried about somebody, and some resources where they can find help in our community if they're worried about themselves or somebody else.
I understand like the facility is pretty much 24/7. So I was told like if a kid was out and 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever, couldn't take it anymore, they could knock on your doors and be in. Is there like a phone number or something that say if a person is in crisis that they can call?
Yes, Beltrami County has a mobile crisis team, and then that there's a crisis number that they can call. Anybody can call if they are having an issue where they're concerned about a mental health crisis, and that number is 1-800-422-0045. And when they call that number, a trained professional will answer the phone and probably ask some questions about kind of what's going on, and page out the mobile crisis team from Beltrami County if it's a Beltrami County person. and then that mobile crisis team will respond to that issue and help them sort out, provide them with resources, meet them at the ER or wherever they are at to kind of help them through that crisis situation.
Now, since this begun, it sounds like this is a great intervention, but has the suicide numbers gone down?
Actually, they have for Beltrami County. In 2004 and 2005, we had some of the highest numbers, a spike in the suicide deaths in this county, and during those years, maintained the highest rates of suicide in the state. But over the last few years, we've seen a reduction in some of the numbers. So now, yeah, our county has went from the top county with suicide rates in the state to now we're in number 11th spot in the state. So we've done a really nice collaborative effort of a lot of agencies, groups focusing on issues in our community. I think that have helped to attribute to that reduction and those rates coming down a bit.
Is there some signs of, because we know teenagers, your hormones and your emotions are up and down, but is there something that kind of, as a community person, you might know someone that you, as you said, if you felt concerned, what is kind of like maybe one of the key things you notice that could be noticed?
I guess I would recommend that if you see any kind of significant change in a person's behavior or mood that alarms you, that's something that you should check out. And that's, to me, the simplest way to put it. If there's something that really makes you wonder if something's going on wrong with somebody, they're not how they usually are, ask them about that. Express your concern to them. If it's somebody that you know, express that you care about them, and then ask them what's going on. I'm a little worried because I notice XYZ behavior, and I'm really concerned about you. If you really are concerned that it's an issue of suicide thoughts, it's okay to ask them that question directly. Are you having thoughts of suicide or thoughts of hurting yourself? And then, depending on their answer, you'll know, how serious it is. But you want to look for those changes in behavior. You want to look for any, if a person has mental health issues or a mental health diagnosis such as depression or bipolar disorder, those can be risk factors for suicide issues. And if the person doesn't have the coping skills to manage or aren't taking care of their mental health, then they could be at increased risk for issues.
Well, thank you. And how many years this has been in
The
existence?
suicide prevention program has been with Evergreen since 2009, but it's been in existence in our community since 2005.
And how strongly is because this is a really nice place and it seems like, things are up. How strongly is the community involved, or when the community give, when they give to this facility, is that good or?
Oh, that's wonderful. And the suicide prevention program and the programs here at Evergreen wouldn't exist without support from our community. And the community has been very supportive of our programs. They're all nonprofit programs, so they really need the support. And from outside of grants and different fundraising that we do, community support is invaluable to maintain the services that we provide in all of the Evergreen programs. So we thank them and appreciate their continued support.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If there was one thing that you could give us, viewers of Upstream TV, a tip on, parenting or the coping skills or not giving up, what would you say?
Well, I guess I would just start with something real simple. which is, you always want to feel like your home is a safe place to be. Not only for the adults, but for the young people as well. And so if anybody in the home starts to feel like they're uncomfortable at home, that's a good time to reach out and get some help. Now, there's other things that happen in the home as well. I like to say to parents, if you're in conflict with your teen or your young person, whatever it might be over, maybe it has to do with bedtime, going to school, not being home on time for curfew, maybe there's concerns about alcohol and drugs, whatever those issues might be, as you engage your young person in that conversation, if you start to feel like the problem is bothering you more than it is your young person, then you know the responsibility for that's been shifted. It's been shifted away from your young person to you, and you need to hand it back to them. And you need to have that responsibility talk together so a young person starts to say, no, this is my problem and there's things that I can do about it. And a parent can say, let's look at some options and create a plan to move forward.
Is money an issue with anyone getting help here?
No, our family support services, our services at the shelter, if a young person needs to be here overnight or whatever the circumstances might be, it's free to the family.
It's not a problem for the family, it's always a problem for us.
All right.
That
well,
was some sage advice. I
Yes,
would
it
maybe add a piece to it. Over the years, we've discovered that there's kind of an unwritten contract between a parent and child. The child has to agree to be parented. And if they don't do that, you've probably got a problem that's beyond yourself, that's going to require more resources, more support. And so we'll be a part of that support effort to get that child to the point where they at least agree to be parented. Because if you don't have that, you don't have a lot. You have to get it back to that point. And that's kind of one of our areas of expertise is teaching parents how to find a role that's real effective communication, and bring the resources in that they need to create that safety net when things seem like they're kind of chaotic or out of control.
well, thank you, and thank you for your service.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.